As product designers, we are not just designing interface, we are designing experience. We are designing products that aim to make the life of users better. We are designing the present and the future. With so much power vested on us, don't you think the universe demands excellence from us? I think it does. On today's podcast, we'll be talking about strategies, insights, and guidelines that can help us go from a regular designer to an A designer. Also, we'll be talking about how to remain relevant in the field over the years. So, if you are looking at yourself being in this industry within the next 5, 10, 15 years, leave this podcast. Let's dive in. And yes, we have an amazing guest joining us today. Drums roll, please. Just end up being quiet, and I know what I want to say is very valid.
Are you sure? So you know you have a good voice.
And I think it's very annoying.
I cannot unsee it.
I think it's annoying.
Soft skills are as important as you ask. I would say even more important because from the interview stage, it's your soft skill that gets your case study is fine, but can you talk? Most of the times, I think, and I'm very lucky in my career, I've done jobs I've gotten have not required assessment. And because when they talk to you, they can get inside. They'll get more. They'll be like, oh, this is someone I want to work with. I think will be good working with this person. And they'll call you in. But if you are too serious, too robotic, too straight, they just be like, wow.
It will just be the regular design process that we do.
They just be like, okay, just send him assessment. Let's see whether he's capable. And whatever they see, they will decide whether they want to take it from there. That's why sometimes they tell you that people that get the job, it's not as if they are better than the people that don't get the job, especially in the design space. I've seen crazy designers that do mad designs, but hard to push. And I've seen people that they don't even know much, but you see that ability to liaise and talk and craft out solutions for problems, they are very good at it. They've gone all the way.
Make them very valuable.
Exactly. So you can't ignore soft skills at all. Very important.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Being Between Spaces. My name is Blessed Onoha, and today we are talking about how to remain relevant as a UX designer or in your career when you've spent years of work in it. I have a guest with me, and he's a really good mentor and friend. His name is Sammie Akwe. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, the name is Sammie. Currently over 6 years experience, mostly in the tech industry, and I enjoy animating and illustrating. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you. So, would you like to give us an intro into how you started in the tech space? Like, how did you start? What are the things that intrigued you?
So firstly, my own might be a bit biased, being the fact that I studied computer science in University of Lagos. So one way or the other, we were introduced to tech, even though tech was not as big as it is now when we started. But I think the interest came in after my NYC when we were all job hunting and jobs were hard to find. And I think then it was usually development roles, so very much design roles. So one thing was that in school I was good at web design, like creating, and I've always been drawing since I was young. So I felt, oh yeah, back then front end development was the way to go because design wasn't much there. So front end was the closest to a creative space you could ever think of. And I did front end. I learned, took some courses for like 4 months before I landed my first job. And I know job hunting might be tough now. Back then, you could easily get jobs after taking a Udemy course. I don't know how the space is. I heard it's a lot tougher now. But yes, I got my first job there. So how I got introduced to design was during that job, I were working on a project whereby we were supposed to build an application. So basically, we had back and forth building the applications, we weren't getting the design decisions correctly. And I think one of the guys recommended we bring in a product designer. So along the line, we got into a product designer, and at first I was like new to it. I didn't know what product design was all about. And I asked him what was he doing. He said he was just going to help us out with the designs. And I asked him how much. Yeah, money is a very big motivator. That's another thing. So when he
Okay.
told me his amount, I was like, wow, people get this for design. And he said yes, and he told me, and he helped me out with courses. So I started off with Udemy courses, and I think I'll share some of them with Bless, so you can start off with them. Design courses, very easy. One thing you do that is very important is learning a design tool. It's very important. I know a lot of people might have the inspiration to design, but how to design is very important. So when I got there, I started designing, started creating works, started posting, and whenever I saw a job opportunity, I always applied. And that's how I got my first gig. And why I'm specifying this is because the first job I ever got in the design space was actually meant for females. Now, I know a lot of you can go online and see jobs and see that, oh, you don't fit the requirement and back out of it. I'll tell you no. First job I got actually said they wanted females, and I still applied. They gave me a call. They still hired a female, but at least I got the job. So don't always be afraid to apply design. So basically, that's how I got into design. So
So that means if they still hire the female and hire you, that means your portfolio or your CV was captivating enough for them to say we need this guy in our team.
yeah, I think basically it was the idea of knowing how to code. So, like I said, the Nigerian space is different. I won't tell you to say, oh, you must learn how to code, but I'll encourage you to learn all those no code development tools. The Nigerian space is different because then when they saw a designer that could do front end, it was like, oh no, we can't just pass it up. Let's just have him along. I mean, he will
Yeah,
aid the front end guys.
you understand them.
Exactly. So that so you can have an extra. So you just need to pick because Figma has made. I'm sorry to say, but Figma has made people lazy, designers especially. Back then, we needed to know Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator. We needed to know actual design tools, and these were complicated tools at the time. I think they're still complicated now because people don't know them.
Illustrator is still complicated.
So you know what I'm talking about. So and then that's what made it interesting and that's what makes you stand out. That's why you see most of the designers around. You see that it's something special, especially the ones with foreign gigs. You have some that are good with Webflow, you have some that are good with Blender, you have some you just need to so if it's coding it's fine, no code, just have something different from Figma. That's what I'll tell you.
Okay. So make sure you're bringing something extra to the table to stand out, to not just be the regular designer
You can't be the regular designer in
and
today's
go
market.
far.
I mean, from all the gigs I get these days or I see, I feel there's always an extra clause. So if you're not learning Webflow, you should be learning illustration, you should be learning 3D. You should be reading about AI. If you notice now, most of the apps are incorporating AI into their work. So I know there was a time Web3 was, just that Web3 never really launched the way it was supposed to launch. But you see the point of AI. AI is actually launching. Snapchat uses AI. Notion uses AI. So a lot of new apps, even existing apps, are moving into AI. So that's an edge. So I'll tell you to delve on that. Virtual reality is another area that you could also look into. Gamification is another area. If you're fond of games, don't create mobile games, you could also learn how to produce some of these things. You just need to be unique. Find your niche, even in design space.
That was deep. Okay. Um, I noticed you talked about the product design and your first job that helped you start up as a designer. Over the years, I believe you've had networks and design or creative people that helped you grow up the ladder. How do you think that's something people should look out for when they are getting into this space? Because I know some people are like, don't consider community, don't look for other designers, you don't need it, you can just grow on your own. What do you have to say about
Community is good. There's no way you want to look at it that it's not good. A problem is, my point I'll say, you have to be in a community that is engaging. That's one. And it has to do with the users. That so if you're in a community and everybody is doing best in design, I feel that community might not help you grow. So you have to look out for, like when I started out, and the community doesn't have to be like, it must be a group of 30 people. I feel a lot of designers don't even talk to the designers around them. Now, when I started out, I tried reaching out to designers on LinkedIn,
it? Okay.
and it's hard reaching out to these guys because these guys are at that time they were blown, and they are looking for better opportunities, not some young guy trying to drag them. And it's very rare to find people that have your time as a mentor. But there's one thing you can do is get people within your own space. So I had a friend. Right now, she's doing well, very well actually. So we were always challenging ourselves. She was good with Photoshop. I was good with Illustrator. While she helped me out with Photoshop, I helped her out in Illustrator. Soon we started learning Figma, then we started learning this. We were always pushing ourselves, learning something new. Oh, do you know this? Yes, I do. Oh, you have you tried this? And that's why we've gotten to the space where we are today. So I will encourage people to, like, when it comes to community, you can build a small community within yourselves and encourage yourself to climb the ladder, create opportunities. Reach out to people that are that give feedbacks. When it comes, if it's mentorship, you have to reach out to mentors that give feedbacks. I won't deny the fact that I say mentors are not good. They are good only where they are giving you feedbacks and helping out with your career. So I think that's the two things that I'll tell you about communities.
So that's very important. Find your own people. You have laid it out. Find your own people. Grow with them. I feel when you're even growing with your mates, you tend to. It's not like it's competition, but you are encouraged to do the next big thing because it's not like you're imitating the person, but because your friend is doing this, like your friend was learning Photoshop, she was very serious about it, you were very serious with your illustrators. So I feel like the people you surround yourself with, find your own people, grow with them. I honestly don't support people going to people's game and saying, please will you like to be my mentor? If I'm being honest, where I see that from is everybody's still growing no matter how big or how far you get, nobody actually has it all figured out. And even those people that you're looking up to that are really good, they are looking at people or they are going with people in their space. So they are trying to be better in that industry. And you're trying to draw me back to come and teach you how to make circles. I feel you should do something and then bring it and get feedback.
Oh, that's it. The approach you take in reaching out to mentors is very important. You don't just DM a mentor as if you are giving them an assignment. Oh, I've been trying to do this, I need this, or I need a job. And you might have heard something maybe in my company and say, oh, you need it. And I'll give you a straight answer, either a yes or no. But if you want to try, I think in most cases, I'll take maybe Patrick. You know Patrick?
Yeah.
When he reached out to me on LinkedIn, he explained the challenges that he has been having this. And I think that's where empathy comes in. So I could see that, oh, there were things he was telling me he had been trying to walk into the design space, it's tough for him and everything, doesn't know what to do and all that stuff. And I said, oh, okay. He didn't say, oh, review my portfolio and this thing. And the way his approach was very, he just wanted to figure out things.
Yeah.
He needed a way out. So that kind of approach goes a long way. You don't just DM someone and say, oh, can you go through my CV or my portfolio? As even as don't forget, some of these guys even make money from those things. So you just buzz into their DM and say that, so the approach matters. You have to go through it, empathize the way you request for things when you're looking out for a mentor, basically.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So I understand that the design industry is an ever growing space. People are learning new things, things are changing, they are even changing jobs. Has there been like a moment, a challenging moment in this journey over the past 6 years? Have you had any really down moments? Would you like to share it and how did you overcome
I think the lowest moment was, I think it's upscaling your salary. But there was a time where the fame I had was not aligning with the money I'm making.
it?
So
Okay.
there is this thought about when you've been in the design space and they probably see your works online, they've seen you take classes online and they think, oh, probably this guy is making a million plus, he's doing well and all that. And I was not making, I don't think I was making up to 300K at the time. And so you were famous, you had experience, but upscaling was a challenging moment. And so what I think I did was I played too much by the rules.
Okay.
Design is a creative space. So you need to put yourself out there at all times. So how did I get works? Start posting online. I keep telling people, don't be afraid to post. Be it a screen, be it a case study,
Post it.
post. If people say they want to post the perfect design, then I didn't post any person. I'll just post my screens. Because you don't know who might see it and be like, oh, this kind of application, we need something like it. So I found a way to put myself out there And from there, I was getting requests, chats on LinkedIn, and I started processing, and it started giving me a way of negotiating. Because when you're in one company following by their rules, I think you lose the ability to negotiate. But when you start taking offers from different sectors, you improve your ability to negotiate. So nobody can actually scale. So I think that's the biggest challenge. And don't really take my word like don't really take it too hard like that because the world is tough. So even if I'm saying there's a certain amount I'm expecting at this point in time, the Nigerian economy is actually quite tough, especially for designers. So there's a cap to how much they can pay a designer. The designers that are making well over a million or making 500 or 800 or the big amounts, they are working with recognized organizations, which to enter those organizations is tough. So, and startups that will give you that amount will probably, if they have the funds, may not be able to last a year paying you that amount. So take the opportunity while you can. What I will try to tell you is you need to understand your ecosystem. There is a cap to how much a designer should be earning now. Like for me, I'll tell you, based on where you are staying, if it's a remote offer, I feel between 100K. If it's an internship, probably an 80K is still okay. 100, 150, you don't need to blow yourself about it or beat yourself. Remember, at the early stages, it's all about the learning, not the money. Now, if you've done 1 to 2 years and you want to upscale, you can aim 3, 400 because senior designers are still collecting 500. You don't allow what you're on
Don't allow
Twitter
social media.
tell you that maybe you're making 200K in this economy, you're poor.
Yeah.
No, it's not like that. And when people hear tech bro, it's like as if they're hearing your
Dollar.
It's not the same thing. We are all trying to like survive basically, and it's not just here, home and abroad. Even abroad, I have friends that have relocated for 6 months,
Yeah.
1 year, and they
They've
still
not got it.
struggle to get design jobs.
Yeah.
They still hold on to their Nigerian jobs. That's the thing, it's tough out there. A lot of people, when they come, you will see interviews. Fine, but know that those interviews you might have had maybe 100 applicants and all that. You will still get to interview stage, but will they choose you? Will they feel comfortable paying? And they still lay off. So the challenges here are there, only that they are paying more, basically.
They pay more and you still blow the money faster.
They pay more, and I think what you get globally is, I think our design industry is a bit not there yet. So I think from my experience, the way we tackle design is we are not there yet. There's no structure. There's no. I think it's too much laid out on the visuals. When you go over there, there's a lot of things they check: human behavior, your interaction design, testing. Testing is a big place that we don't do in this country. We just build the product and test after. Testing over there, even on the design stage, is very important. Is it prototype working? Is it what's this behavior? And testing after the product is done. So mostly when we are building here, but as far as the design team is done and moves over to development, there's no business again with
Yeah,
the
they
design
wash
team.
their hands off.
Well, if you're working with a real company, you would still review what has been built. Does it align with what you used, what was in the design? Is it behaving the same way? Because before they moved into development, there's an expectation, and they were agreed that this is the expectation we want.
Yeah.
And now they moved into development, and maybe probably the developers are building different expectations. So it still come back to you if that development doesn't go well. So it's your job to ensure that even after development, that the design still conform, the build still conforms to the design. And I think that's where we miss it in Nigeria. And that's why we have what I ordered versus what I brought. Because a lot of designers will design very well, developers will build based on, to the best of their own ability, and we just have two different people clashing.
So
Pro-
I
put
think
on
the
another.
problem is them saying they hand off. I don't think they're supposed to. They are supposed to. They are not supposed to hand off design and end it. They are supposed to hand off and then work with the developer. They just hand off and they are like they are done.
Well, the main problem is we think we are running a waterfall style with an agile mindset. So now I think most Nigerian firms don't understand the meaning of agile. Agile to them means fast. So when you design quickly, you develop quickly.
Yeah.
But that's not agile. Agile is collaboration. All of us collaborating together.
Yeah.
So how does agile work? You break your product into small parts. Say, okay, let's work on the registration first. You design it, did it make sense? It made sense. Move it.
Everything is it doable?
Is it doable? Is it functional? It's fake sense. You move it to development, they build it. When development is done, designs will review. They will,
Researchers will test.
exactly. They will test the work. Does it conform? Does it meet everything? They say, okay, yeah, it does. And from there, when you're done with registration, you can now move over to the next phase, which is maybe verification or any other thing. You can see that at that point when you are done with registration, you are done completely. But the problem now, so now look at that method, you are done and everybody collaborated
Everybody
together
is good.
and we are good to go. We have gone to phase verification, so that process is done. But now Nigerian companies, you want to do registration, verification, everything in maybe 2 weeks, you want to build in 1 month.
Then develop
Then when you
and
now bring the test back, you now say, oh, we're unable to onboard, the OTP is not working, the verification is not good, this thing is not working, and it's logging me out, it's not saving cookies. You get lots of bugs coming out from everywhere and lots of design requirements, and customer feedbacks can be very brutal.
yeah.
They can give it in such a way, and these days I found out that it's very easy to blame the designer. Most times everything that is happening might be functional, but they say, oh, the design did not meet
Yeah.
the requirement. So it's a brutal world out there. I feel we should have, we should allow more collaborations, break projects into smaller parts, build, test them before we go to the next phase. But ah, we can only hope.
I think it's actually doable. It can be a bit functional. So if you are in a team, even if it's a small team that you are the only designer, there are just two designers and there are two developers and maybe one researcher, and the brief comes to you or the FRD comes to you. I want to encourage you that at that point, don't start building, don't just start designing. Bring in the researcher at that point, bring in the developer at that point. You people should work through it, talk about it. So then when you design maybe the low file, present it to the developers. Is this something that you can do? What do you think about this? So there will not be cases of he went and designed a moving train. Does he want does she want me to code the moving train? I think if people talked about that in ideation stage, this is going to solve a whole lot of the issues, and there will be better working. There will be same. Everybody is good. Everybody is happy. The researcher is testing at each point. So don't wait for when you are working in a big company, or don't wait for when your PM assemble all of you. Most times they don't get to assemble all of you. If you are the designer, I encourage you to take it up at that point. Say, please, can I dial the researcher in on this call? Can I dial the developer in on this call? Dial them in, keep them updated. Don't wait till you are done to give them the finished um task.
Well, in addition to that, I will tell young designers to also be careful. You are already experienced, so you. So the thing is, at a certain stage in life, we all go through challenges, and there's not everybody is easy to work with. You might say all this, and your guy is looking at you as if you don't have sense. They're like, how long have you been working here? Do you know who you are talking to? Do you think this is the first product I'm doing? So you have to do it in such a way that it doesn't come across as insulting. So what
Okay.
I'll tell people is, at the first stage, listen to what your bosses have to say and what they have to do. Now, what you do, if you see there's an issue, you throw it as a suggestion, just like you said, but let them still be the ones to make the decision. Now, if at any point it doesn't go well, you can now throw in as a recommendation. So you are giving them the power to make your decision. It's very important to know how to talk to your bosses, because most times your approach is very, very important when liaising with stakeholders. That's why you see one of the key requirements as a product designer is ability to handle stakeholder meetings. It's not as if they want you to be the PM. They just want you because they know sometimes what the stakeholders want are maybe over the top. So they would need you to come and dive things in, have that soft skill. Another soft skill is ability to liaise with developers. Very important. So because developers are very, very, I call them wild beasts. They are hard to tame. They are very, because of who they are and what they offer to the company. They
Yeah.
can be they can be very hard to manage. But if you come with an approach whereby you like, offer this project, you make the person feel the worth of that project and say, let's do this so that it will make sense for our users. Let's do it so that our users will be able to do this. Let's do this so that if you say it like,
Make
oh,
them feel like they are going to make an impact.
yeah, make it their project. If you can't say it in such a way like, this thing does not align well, it's not looking good, change it. I'll be like, who is this
Who is
person?
he?
Well, how long have you been designing and all that stuff? So your soft skills are as important as your hard skills. I would say even more important because from the interview stage, it's your soft skills that gets, yo, your case study is fine, but can you talk? Most of the times, I think, and I'm very lucky in my career, I've done, jobs I've gotten have not required assessment. And because when they talk to you, they can get inside. They'll be like, they get more. They'll be like, oh, this is someone I want to work with. I think will be good working with this person. And they'll call you in. But if you are too serious, too robotic, too straight, they just be like, wow.
It will just be the regular design process that we
Exactly.
do
They just be
here.
like, okay, just send him assessment. Let's see whether he's capable. And whatever they see, they will decide whether they want to take it from there. That's why sometimes they tell you that people that get the job, it's not as if they are better than the people that don't get the job, especially in the design space. I've seen crazy designers that do mad designs, but hard to push. And I've seen people that they don't even know much, but you see that ability to liaise and talk
Yeah.
and craft out solutions for problems, they are very good at it. They've gone all the way.
Make them very valuable.
Exactly. So you can't ignore soft skills at all. Very important.
So while you work on your becoming excellent in your design skill, work on being empathetic, work on calming waters. But actually, yeah, you need to be able to calm bad, um, bad experiences. Yeah, you need to be able to bring everyone in line with what should be done at a certain time. So I know this is years down the line, and I know this might be a long time ago, but have you had any of your projects batched, like you took 1 month or 2 weeks, stayed awake at night, designed this stuff, put in your best hands? It was just not it. Okay, either it did not fly, or they just outrightly told you, no, this is not what we want. How did you deal with that? Did you have such?
It's not been lucky. Maybe with the teams I've worked with, I've had less of that. But one thing I would say is criticism is something a lead designer should look out for. And I think I've gotten used. I think I created a mode whereby I don't give you a very good design the first time because I want to see your reaction. And it's not something you should go and try as a new designer so that they don't go and throw you out of the office. I do it because I try to scale the work from a light mode so that I can understand what your focus point is. Because a lot of projects can come with a lot of demands. And when I put something at light stages, they're like, oh, we were expecting this to be this. Oh, we were expecting this. Our main focus is on this. When you hear things like that, you now get insights on, oh, what's really important to them. Because you might not get that in the meeting. You might say it, they might tell you everything is important. They say this is what they want to roll out, use it. But when I just throw things very light, like I'll just put one small thing incomplete and I'll just do other things. Like, oh, we noticed that this thing is not. I said, okay. So it's a way of gathering insights for me. That's why I always tell people, don't be ashamed. As a designer, even as a creative person, critics is should be your bread and butter. You see it.
That is not easy.
No, that's the way the world works. People that write movies and produce movies today they read critics. They want to know what the actual person because people follow critics guide where your the audience will go to. For example, if you see a movie now, there's a particular person that will write about that movie. You'll go be like, oh no, the movie did not make sense. And you bother talking about it. You've not seen the movie, but you just know for this guy to say this, it didn't make it. So when you get a critic from someone, you need to understand where it's coming from. And I'll tell you there are two ways to handle criticism. Always know that there are two places criticism will come from. One is a place of concern, and two is a place of hate. So you need to know how to manage the two. Now, concern being that they are concerned about the product is not meeting the expectation they expect it to be. So from there, you now grab the expectation and make sure you do that in the next build. From a point of hate is they cannot explain where it's coming from. They just feel your work is bad. You need to be able to map these people. And what I do with them is I ask them questions. I start firing them a lot of questions. Why do you think it's bad? Why do you think it's this? What do you expect from this? Because at the end of the day, when you know it's coming from a hate, they just say, oh, you're the designer, you figure out. I said, yes. And that's why I've done this. And I start explaining my points from a design point of view.
Yeah.
Then even the stakeholders in the meeting will be like, well, he has made his case, but we just want it to look better. I've heard that a lot.
Yeah.
And so, but when you see someone come in with a point of concern that, oh, or wanted it to be like this so that our users will be able to do this. So I'm like, oh yeah, that's what we want our users to do this. Yes, work at that. Then you cannot train some recommendation. Would you like it to be like this? Would you want it to be like this? They now tell you some yes, the some no. They say, oh, you can do that if you can. You create that interaction. One thing you need to learn to do is create a form of interaction with your stakeholders. Don't be a yes designer.
Okay, I wanted to ask that because not all their ideas most times valid. How?
You need to. So yeah, that goes to, and I always tell people to always have an MVP. Most companies, especially in Nigeria, don't know focus on their MVP, the minimum viable product. For every complex or any product, ask them what can we scale out, what is usable in the market, and you tell them with a warning that if we don't scale this project out, we'll have issues. When you have your MVP, you can now be like, for me, when I scale out my project, I break down what we want. We can now say, oh, we can go with this. I select my MVP and now build my outcomes from there. I know that this is what we're rolling out. So it gives me confidence going to our next meeting that we've achieved what we want for the first stage.
Yeah.
We can now build on the second stage. So it's very good, it's very necessary to understand your MVP so that you know what you're doing. Because I see lots of designers design in circles. I'm like, why is this product is not launched? They say the PM did not like it. The stakeholder is like, I'm like, you keep on building these products till like you don't come because you don't have a metric scaling this product. It's very important to have a metric. What is scaling this product? What can go to the market? So if you don't do that, I'm sorry, you'll be designing in circles.
Understand your project enough to align what you are designing with what should go out first. Understand your project enough to identify your priority flows,
That's it.
right? So when you are talking from a place of authority, you are talking from a place of professional because let's be honest, they hired you to that role as a professional, even if you're a junior designer, you are a professional in this space, maybe a mini professional. So you should be able to own your product, step into the place of user, say this is why I think this should be this way. But yes, I understand your concerns, I understand your ideas. How about we do it this way? That is when you think your stakeholders' idea is not aligning with what the actual users want. I feel we should just be able to build our communication skill, be able to convey that idea in your head, convey it and try not to be rude about it, right? And you'll be heard. So, as a senior designer, you've been able to manage teams over the years. Um, what do you think someone that is starting out, stepping into the leadership space or leadership role, what do you think from 2 cents you can give that person some, let's say an example, someone is starting to manage a team of even if it's 3 people or 2 people, how do you think that person can succeed in that space?
So for me, I will tell you one thing that is very important, even if it's one person, because sometimes you might just need to manage one person. The thing is, understand the limit of the person you're managing. You know, one thing I've noticed between managers and fellow designers is the expectation. Because we've been through hell, and I noticed that with even a colleague of mine. When we started out, we've been through hell, they wanted this, we wanted that. And when it was time for us to lead, he
Yeah.
started doing the exact same thing. And I'm like, this is what you've been like, and you're doing the same thing. So what I do is I understand the skill level of my team members. And next thing I do is I have an expectation. So if your visuals are not good, we start working on the visuals. So I'll start giving you assignments to work on visuals. If your UX is not good, I start giving you stuff to work on your UX. I need you to start being careful. So it goes to the part whereby I might have to even sketch it for you. So my team, I think I started the team I have today, they were all my interns. And being interns, I need to understand their strengths and weaknesses. I will focus on first. I show them a general way of designing product or any project. And the next thing, I started giving them little tasks on the work I was doing and doing them. So that gave them the ability to know how the real world works. Then there are things they should just know how to do, and I make sure they know how to do those things. And one thing you should do is also teach them the form of collaboration. Okay, maybe I have maybe like 5 guys now, so that's why I say, oh, you guys go do this, you go do the login, you go do the verification, you do the database. Right now, but I feel if you have one person, let that person be part of the project. Give him things to do. Don't just send him something to do. When it comes, he says rubbish, then design it, and you start making the person look inferior,
Okay.
or it's not doesn't encourage the person's career or what he hopes to achieve. You need to understand that they are trying to do their best.
Yeah.
Now, without saying, there are some people that you can't help, and it's always good to know them on time. Once you know you can't help them,
What will you do?
cut them out. There's no space for you here, because you two have your goals as a manager to deliver on product. So if you're not with the team members that can produce and you've tried to push them and they can't, I'm sorry, you have to go. But then you have to look out for talent. I've been lucky, and I could say is that's why mine can be a bit biased. I trained my own talent, so my expectations already, I've already hit it in them, and so they can't just disappoint me. The only thing I do now that I take over is the style guides. I can come up with the style guide, the design system, and probably I can sketch with go through sketching sessions. So when we have sketching sessions, I'll say, okay, this is the flow I want to go with. You can all see the flow. If you have any issues, reach out. You have my email, you have my contact. As far as you can see it, you have the style guides. I mean, what are you looking for again? It's just there. Just design what you see. So, and I think later I stopped using the sketches. I just tell them, oh, this is my expectation. I want this page to have a search bar. I should be able to filter. I should be able to do this. I should be able to do that. They take it and they build it, and you just find out that they have. So it's a step by step thing. It's like teaching a baby how to walk.
Don't,
It
don't
doesn't
place
start
so
from
much
the
expectation
baby
on
has to
it.
learn how to stand first before he walks. You can't just carry the baby and start walking the baby. The baby must learn how to stand, gain balance, then walk. So it goes with design. What are those things they need to know at that stage? Then you start moving them up. Before you know it, they start doing the complicated things, and you'll be resting while they'll be putting the work for you.
I think that's a really good approach because I remember when I met you and we joined that mentorship team. I feel your plan or your process is good because you basically show them the basics, allow them design to see their strengths, and then you allow them fly. So it's like holding a bird. So you now allow the bird to fly, bring up your creativity. Let's see how it goes. Let's see if you are more of a UI person. Let's see if your visuals is good enough.
Yeah, that's why I do that approach, because I have it. There's a standard. There's a normal standard to the kind of designs, to what a design process should be like. And when you have your design process already, you just teach them the standard. And one thing I like to tell people that it based on the company you work for, don't be too fixated about design processes. I'm not saying they are not important. They are meant to guide you, not tell you how to design.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to say is a lot of people rely too much on their processes to the point like if they don't see a research, they can't work.
Yeah.
If you don't have a research, you should have data. So you can ask them, oh, what data it is that can back up this problem you just brought to us. And if they have data, you can go through the data. If they don't have data, what you can do is say, okay, we need to know more. We need to get more. So that will be all for me. And it's been a wonderful session.
You tell them
Blessed.
to follow my podcast.
Oh, definitely. If they don't, they'll be missing a lot. Yeah, you need to follow the podcast because I'll definitely be listening.
Thank
I'll be
you.
checking all what's going on. I'll be learning because I'm blessed has come a long way, and I'm excited to see the kind of content she rolls out. So, guys, please do follow her all our social media pages. I'm sure she'll drop it for you guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sammie, and thank you guys for listening to this point. I really appreciate. I hope it was insightful. I hope it was captivating. Till next time. Bye.